All right, what is up, and welcome to another episode of the Comedy's Dead podcast, live from the Comedy's Dead studios. And by that I mean my parents' basement. I'm your host, Josh Goldstein. You probably know that already, because you're probably only listening to this because you know me. That's usually how that kind of works. What is up? Welcome. Hope you had a good week. I'm trying to get the mic at the right place so it sounds good. It honestly just doesn't sound that good in general. I gotta fucking, I don't know, I gotta fucking fix this shit. For some fucking reason, what's going on here? Phones, is that up? Okay. That sounds a little bit better. See, I gotta turn the gain down and the master up. Cause the fucking, as I fucking burp into the microphone. Cause the fucking, I don't know, fucking, it keeps fucking redlining, and like feeding back. It's driving me fucking nuts, and you can hear the goddamn boiler in the background. I don't know. I can't really stop fucking that, and it's driving me insane. I don't even think anybody can hear it. I can't hear it, especially since I fucking whatever. This is just a view into my neuroses. If you haven't been following, yeah, I don't know. Welcome to another episode. I don't really have any fucking idea what I'm going to talk about this week, because I'm going to try to avoid talking about how there's no hope for the future, because this is supposed to be a comedy podcast, I think. It hasn't really turned out to be that in the last couple weeks, but, it is what it is, all right? If you leave me to my own devices, and I don't have to deal with the fact that I'm playing to an audience of marks, like the carny I am, that's what I am, right? I'm a carny, right? I show up, I sell drink tickets to morons. That's what it is. I sell drinks to morons. That's my job. All right, my job isn't to create art. My job is to make your parents go, wow, that was amazing. Or go to fucking Cambridge and pretend to pander and not say all the terrible things I want to, or do, and then just not get invited back by the booker. That's usually how that goes. That's why I mostly stick to the club rooms, because it's a lot easier to have fun there, but if I go out into the suburbs, I just got to deal, with people my parents' age who do not want to hear my views on things or hear me talk about sex. And then it's just like, if they like the dark shit, they like it for the wrong reasons, and then you're just in a terrible position. I wish I could be a hack. That's really what I'm saying. Do you know how successful I would be if I just said shit that people wanted to hear? If I had no integrity. That's really the way to be successful in this world, is to just have zero integrity, to just be a whore for whatever business you're in. That's what it is, okay? Having good intentions has never got most people anywhere, That's how you get ostracized, right? Because the big moneyed interests who give you all the shit at the end of the day just want you to fucking do something that people will lap up. So they can sell it to the advertisers, man. I don't know. Maybe that's what I should do. Maybe I should just become another right-wing grifter like all of the other fucking podcasts in the world, If you guys see me start wearing, like, designer clothes and talking about wokeism and trans people in high school sports, just know I got the bag, okay? Just know that fucking Peter Thiel is behind my success. You want to get into real conspiracies, look into Peter Thiel, alright? That guy funded Facebook. He owns a company called Palantir, which is literally built around spying on your information. And then he's the money that got Zuckerberg big, okay? He's the Leslie Wexner to Mark Zuckerberg's Jeffrey Epstein. Okay, we have already gone off the deep end, and we are 4 minutes in. Welcome, guys. Welcome, okay? This is, I don't know. Have I talked about Leslie Wexner on this podcast? Have I really? I think I did on the last episode, right? He's the Victoria's Secret mogul whose money manager Jeffrey Epstein was, even though he had no college degree or he was not like an accredited fucking financial manager. But for some reason, he was put in charge of hundreds of millions of dollars and given a bunch of houses by this guy who happened to be connected to the Mossad. So was Robert Maxwell. that kind of ties in Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. And they were all using it to compromise United States politicians who are all funding, I won't go as far as call it genocide, but it's pretty bad. And why am I doing this, guys? Why am I doing this? Okay, I could be successful if I just shut the fuck up about real world issues. Okay, I could just get on stage and be like, so, fucking, I look like, this is my identity, and, what was it? I had, all the fucking hack topics. Let me just talk about sex for 10 minutes and tell you guys, why my life is sad. So you can all feel bad for me, and then you can laugh at my mediocre jokes out of empathy. That's really the way to get successful in this business these days. It's not actually trying to write real bits and taking, not taking a side on things and just trying to be funny. That's, that would be too simple to just, work your way up the hard way. In a world where it's increasingly difficult to be a starving artist because rent is $2,000 a month. And, you have actual bills, and it costs $14 for a sandwich, and, you try to have a car, and you work a full-time salary where you, between comedy and your job, you make $60,000 a year, and you still can't afford to move out of your parents' house. Okay, that's the world we live in. Okay, will I ever make it? Probably not. That's where we're at. Ugh, speaking of where we're at, I had a great weekend this weekend, okay? I mean, it wasn't the greatest. Well, okay, so Thursday, I went out to Lincoln's in Portland, and I had the best fucking set. I think probably the best set I've ever had. I mean, I worked out one bit in the middle that went well, but not it wasn't murdering like the old shit was. But I really like where I'm going with that. It's not finished yet. I'm trying to figure it out. I kind of worked it on the podcast a couple weeks ago, but yeah, man, I'm really fucking excited about that bit. I feel like, I mean, it kind of ebbs and flows with, how I feel with my act, right? Where I feel, in the spring, I got it down to, this really, really fucking razor-sharp, tight set. And then I added a bunch of newer things that were a bit darker, and then I got that razor-sharp. And then, you start loosening up with that again, and then you're trying to work into new shit. So I'm kind of just figuring out the structure. Really just the problem right now is I just have feature headlining length set material, but I'm trying to condense it into, the 12 to 15 minute sets I'm getting, so it's kind of tough to feel like, you're working everything as often as you want it to, but it's getting there. It's fucking getting there. I'm starting, you get the shit you get, but yeah, and then Friday, I went up to Lewiston, Maine. Dude, I wasn't supposed to be up there until Friday night. I was up I did Lincoln's, and then I ran over to Empire to do the open mic. And while I was there, they fucking hit me up about running 2 shows this weekend for Next Stop Comedy. So then I ended up, having to fucking head up to Lewiston on Friday. Honestly, it kind of turned into a fucking hellgate, dude. It was, giant room, high ceilings. There's a rock sculpture behind you. Everything's metal or stone, so just the sound's reverberating. The speakers are not loud enough to carry a room that size. There was dinner seating when I fucking get there. Because they hadn't finished dinner service because they were busier than expected. So the best 2 tables, the people who were laughing the most during my set, and the people who are closest to the fucking stage, are not people who are there for the show. So I'm really rolling my first 7 minutes, and obviously, and the problem is the sound didn't carry. So all the people with the actual tickets who are sitting in the back are just sitting there, and they can't even hear shit. So they just start talking. So I'm up on stage, and because of how the sound is in there, and there's so much reverb, all I fucking hear is just people talking in the back of the room. So I'm fucking, and then I'm rolling with the people up front, except for the people to the right because they were all old and they just didn't want to hear anything I had to fucking say. And but there's a bunch of people my age in the front that I was really crushing with, and 6 minutes into my set, they all just get up to leave because they didn't buy fucking tickets to the show. So the next 5 minutes of my fucking set are just hearing fucking everybody leaving and talking and saying goodbye to each other, which just emboldened the rest of the back of the room to talk even more and talk even louder. So I'm just like speaking into nothingness because nobody can fucking hear me at this point. And you just hear fucking waiters cleaning off fucking tables. And, you know, dude, it was fucking brutal. And then, yeah, we all struggled. It's just the sound didn't work. I tried to turn it up during another comic set, and it just made it worse because it just, you know, caused the levels to peak even more. So it was just boomy. And, like, they were telling me, like, you know, it was easier to hear the other two, like, the audience members after. They were like, we really liked you. It was just we couldn't hear shit. And they really liked the other two comics, but because they could hear the other two comics, because my voice was too high for how the dynamics of the room work, where all the fucking high end got lost. And, like, you know, I don't think I have that high of a voice, but, like, it's high enough where unless you have, like, a fucking baritone, it just wasn't gonna cut through. And it was, that was fucking brutal. But, Ben Chadwick, who was on the show with me, you know, he, you know, works, Empire, he had me thrown on to the showcase that they had late night there. So after Lewiston, I sprinted down to Portland, and I closed out that showcase, and I had a fucking blast. Like, really, really fun set. So, you know, that turned into, like, 2 fun days in Maine. And then, I was over at Angletree Brewing with, Ray Harrington. I should have shouted out Tim Ciampa. He was the headliner of the first show. Tim did a great job handling it, you know. He's a fucking pro. You know, really funny stuff from him, really funny stuff from Ben. And then Ray Harrington, headlined over at Angletree Brewing, North Attleboro, Saturday. Really fun guy to work with. I mean, just a fucking killer. Really tight, you know, just, it's not even tight, he's just like, he's the opposite, he's loose, just in the moment, really knew how to work a crowd, you know, riffing for days, crowd work without sounding like fucking hacky crowd work. Yeah, I was really just, you know, I've seen him a few times before, but I'm always really fucking impressed by how good that guy is. So yeah, I had a really fucking, you know, good weekend in that case. Did I have a show Sunday? I went to hang out at Warp and Weft in Lowell. That was a good show. You know, shout out to all the comics there. But yeah, so I had a good weekend. You know, I'm excited for the next fucking whatever. I'm over at what did I do yesterday? I did a show yesterday. I did Cafe Dello Sport in the North End yesterday. That went okay. I was kind of trying to work shit out and, like, rework the delivery of some things. It just felt like I was I don't know, I felt like my delivery was just a little off. You know, it wasn't a bad set. I got some big pops, but, like, just some of the jokes that I expected to work just didn't fucking whatever. So I was just kind of like, you know, it's one of those things where it feels worse than it is in the moment, and then you, like, listen back to it and you're like, oh, that was actually a decent set. It just wasn't as good as Thursday. And now I'm just comparing everything else to, like, yeah, I don't want to have a good set. I want to fucking murder. But it went fine, you know. It gives you a chance to work some new shit out. You know, kept working on that other bit. I gotta figure that fucking out. It's like, I don't know. The problem is, I think some of the lines I liked the most in it were crushing with comedians, and they were doing okay with the audience. You know, it's some of those lines are kind of inside baseball type things, but I don't know. I mean, I think it's a good bit. You know, it's definitely better than when I talked about it on the podcast last week. That was kind of, you know, it's kind of just me working an idea out and just trying to throw shit at the wall. But yeah, dude, I'm fucking, I'm pumped about that. I'm pumped about where things are at. You know, it's good. Everything's good. Oh, let's see, what else what's going on? Oh, dude, when I was at fucking Angletree on Saturday, so I went to LSU. Obviously it was LSU, Alabama. We got our fucking dick stomped in. Dude, the LSU got a $250,000 fine, I think, from the SEC because everybody's throwing shit on the field for how embarrassing that goddamn loss was. I mean, we ended up, what was like 40 to something to 12. But I'm on stage, and you never want TVs on when you're doing comedy, but you definitely don't want TVs on in a game that you would rather be watching than doing comedy, because I'm up there, and, like, I'm like, I don't know if the audience could notice it, but I'm up there, like, reacting to the game in my head while I'm trying to remember and tell jokes and be present with an audience. You know? So I'm like fucking jokes bombing, and in my head I'm just like, first down. You know, that's That's a flag. That's defensive holding. It's a pass interference. Why the fuck would you not call that? Joke works. I'm like, that's a hold. That's a hold. That's a hold. Yeah, it's I don't know. I fucking hate having to like work when I would rather be watching other shit. But then I'm also like, I would rather be working than just sitting in and watching a game. You know, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. I'm never happy, guys. Okay, that's really the theme of my life. I'm content occasionally. You know, that's good enough. I don't know, dude. I feel like most things are worse in my head than they actually are. I fucking noticed that last night where, you know, like I was talking about how like it wasn't actually that bad. But in my mind, I'm just like funneling through this maze of self-hatred every single time I get off stage. Where I'm just, you know, it's never about what went well. It's about all the million things I could have done slightly better. You know. It's kind of shitty. I feel bad for audience members because they'll come up and they'll try to be nice and compliment me after, and I'm like, no, I should kill myself, okay? I shouldn't have opened on that. I was trying to riff off the other comics that I usually could have just done that as like the second or third joke instead of doing it as the first joke. But no, I decided to open on it because I'm an asshole. And then, you know, that dug me into a hole. It's not that it didn't do well, but it didn't get a pop, and you're trying to open strong. So then, you know, it was a little too dark for an opening bit, so now I'm just in this situation where I'm trying to spend the next 5 minutes trying to dig myself out, and then, you know, you close strong, but then, like, you know, why did that joke not work? Why did that joke not work? Why? Okay, I was a little clammy I was a little, you know, tight on this delivery, so I didn't sell the body language that well, and I did this, and this, and then, you know, you get off stage, and everybody's like, that was fine, what the fuck are you so angry about? You know, that's, yeah, that's how it goes. You know, it's called trying to be good at something, people. It's called not being satisfied. You know, what else motivates you to keep going? Is trying to get better all the time. All right, it's, you know, I don't know. Ugh. All right, we are 16 minutes in. I don't know how fucking long we're going to go this week. I really don't have anything to fucking talk about. You know, I didn't write down that much. Bill Burr, you know, he did his monologue this week on SNL. Seems like almost everybody was angry about that. That was interesting. You know, I like when, you know, you watch something like that and you just see how somebody can anger literally any sort of audience he could have had at once. It's actually truly astonishing. Cuz like for the type of comedy I do, I'm like, that's a masterclass in just doing what the fuck you want despite the audience. You know? Jesus. Oh, sorry. Yeah, dude, he gets up there and just, like, immediately first bit bombs. It wasn't even, like, that bad of a bit. It probably wasn't, you know, opening SNL after the election level good. But, it was fine, you know. And he's, like, you know, what was the comment, like, you know, the joke, like, you know, like, when you have the flu or something, like, or COVID or something like that, you're always, like, trying to figure out who gave it to you. You know, it's like, you know, you're like, you know, was it that guy? Was it that guy? This person coughed on me. You know, I walked past an Asian. And, you know, the tag after was, that's what people on the internet tell me where it comes from. Like, the whole joke is that dumbass racists actually think that. And immediately people are like, oh, he's that. You know, like, he had the bit after about how, like, women can't win president without being a little slutty, like, give the farmers a tease. And they're like, oh, this misogynistic piece of shit. You know, how dare you? This is on the week after the election when all this is going down. How dare you make me watch this? It's like you do know he's making fun of the people who think like that, right? You know, that's like the whole joke is that America's too stupid to vote on policy. You know, they just vote on something flashy, and to do that as a woman, you just got to be kind of, you know, you got to whore it up. Yeah, that's clearly the fucking joke. But, you know, he's an angry white man, so obviously he's a piece of shit. And then, on the other side of things, right, because fucking, you know, the next fucking 5 minutes of his set was just shitting on Donald Trump. You know, he pisses off the other side where they're like, he got neutered by his bitch black ex-wife. How dare she, you know, as if he hasn't always been a complete fucking lefty his entire career. It's like everybody just filters whatever anybody says through does this prove my point correct? Okay, nobody actually listens objectively. Nobody gets satire anymore. You know, we're in too literalist of a society. Have you ever noticed that where like you'll look in the comments of like the reviews of a movie, and people will be upset because the main character is a bad person. It's like, yeah, it's like like this movie was so shitty because this person's a monster. And therefore the dumbasses who will take it incorrectly and use it to prove their moronic points of view, that therefore this piece of art is bad. It's like, you do know not everything is supposed to be taken completely literally, right? Like there's like such thing as an anti-hero, or a main character who isn't just like a good person. Like maybe, just maybe, when you're creating something, it could be more complex than this is exactly who I am and why you should think I'm a good person, right? Maybe there's just a little more to the world. You could just show stories of bad people where the whole point is examining their brain and their thought process. Maybe, just maybe, if somebody doesn't get that and uses it as an excuse to shoot up a women's college, maybe, just maybe, it's not the person who made its fault, and that person was going to do something shitty anyways because they're a fucking psycho, okay? Why do the rest of us have to consume a bunch of bullshit garbage where there's no complexity to it? It's just, this is why I'm right and why I feel empowered, and I'm never going to examine myself. I'm never going to examine the dark things in the world because therefore I support them. We live in a fucking brain-dead society. We really do, And it's only going to get worse because they're going to get rid of the Department of Education because they don't want people who can think for themselves. I was trying to avoid politics. I couldn't do it. It's true. All right, they don't want people who can think for themselves and go, "Hey, why are we letting all these people fuck us?" Okay? Why are they cutting funding to the government agencies that regulate business? To education, right? The FDA, they're trying to cut funding to the FDA. They're trying to cut funding, to the banking committee. They're trying to destroy the Department of Education. It's like, it seems, just maybe, these people who think who say they want to drain the swamp, are really just gonna drain the people who are going to, they're trying to destroy the EPA too, right? They're just trying to destroy the people who are standing in the way of them robbing us fucking blind, And guess what? They're going to make us even dumber by destroying public education, or what we have left of it at this point, because they've been destroying it for fucking 60 years, right? They're going to keep destroying all this shit so we can just be a bunch of fucking mouth-breathing morons who don't know what the fuck's going on, because we already are that, all right? We're all just fucking biased and listen to whatever tells us we're right. I'm guilty of that too. That's why half of you are listening to this podcast still. And by half of you, I mean whatever fucking 20 people are left after, 2 weeks of me shitting on politicians you like. It's kind of fucking ridiculous. I mean, it's not kind of ridiculous. I have no hope, guys. I really don't. It's gonna get bleak. So, I feel like I'm just, I'm leaving my hippie idealist phase and just going into my 70s nihilist phase, right? I just need to make enough money to get a boat so I can do cocaine on it. That's the goal, right? That's where we're at. Not that I even like doing that, but it just feels like the 70s move, Right? It was all acid and sunshine, and then all of your dreams don't come true, and you're like, you know what? We should just get real nihilistic, Not even nihilistic. I should just start listening to soft rock. Just zen myself out. Some mid-70s Eric Clapton and heroin. Just start numbing myself. Start drinking. Go get real into the heavy shit. Jesus. Alright, I'll try to stay off of this, guys. I will try to stay off of this. Here's the problem, is if you leave me at my own devices, I'm just going to try to be George Carlin for the rest of my life. That's because there's no audience here stopping me, I think I was referencing that early in the episode. There's no audience here stopping me. So now I'm just going to, now you have to hear my real unfiltered thoughts, right? Why I think the world is wrong. I say as a 26-year-old, almost 27-year-old with no college degree who lives at his parents' house. Here's why. I'm not the problem. You're the problem. Here's why you should enable my bullshit. I don't know. I feel like the more I get off track, the better this podcast is gonna be. If I can just get off of having topics and just fucking go off the top of my head. Did anybody die that I want to talk about this week? I don't know. Did anybody die? What is going on in the world? Okay, it's really hard to do a whatever podcast. Oh, dude, speaking of fucking, I was talking about, what's it called? Dude, I got, like, multiple Jewish shows coming up, and, I don't know how to keep hiding the fact that my mom's Catholic from these people, because I don't want to turn down the work, right? But at some point, it's going to come out, and someone's going to say something in Hebrew to me, and I'm going to be like, yeah, buddy. Like, I don't know where I'm going to go with that piece, Someone's going to talk about whatever's going on in the world, and I'm going to have to be like, yeah, but we probably, I think we should, I think Israel should exist, right? Jewish people are the only people who don't have a land for themselves in the world without Israel, but also maybe, just maybe, we probably shouldn't, be firebombing 7-year-olds. Maybe there's like a little bit of gray area here, you could have like a nuanced discussion. I don't think that's going to work, so I'm just going to shut my mouth and, wear a yarmulke or something. But I do have the Chosen show on, so I'm going to be at Laugh Boston on That So Jewish, which is a Jewish comedy game show, on the 25th. I'm going to be doing Bleacher Bar after that. That's going to be a busy night. And then on Christmas Eve, I'm going to be on the Chosen show over at the Comedy Studio. And that's going to be exciting. Cause we're going to have it catered with Chinese food. So it's going to be like, $40, $50 tickets. But, you're not just getting a comedy ticket. You're going to, you're going to get a full Chinese dinner. It's going to be a great show. I love the lineup. I'm going to have a fucking blast on that one. Can you shut the fuck? I'm doing a podcast here. Because I told you. I'm keeping that in. Jesus, I mean, the nerve of some people. I don't know. Sorry, I'm so annoyed by that. I said I was doing a podcast, and now I gotta fucking, am I just, do you think I'm just talking to myself like a crazy person down here? I don't know. I might have reacted a little bit strongly there. Okay, hands up, but I'm trying to record something, okay? I'm a little busy here. Ugh. I don't know. I yelled into the microphone, so that's probably going to sound bad. Anyways. Ugh. What is going on with the world? Let's see. What am I doing this weekend? I think I'm going to New York on Friday. I'm maybe going to Melvin Seals in Beverly instead, so I don't have to drive to New York. But, Dark Star Orchestra is at the Cap. I got a bunch of friends who are going to be going, so, gotta see the tour kids, hang out with the heads. Is this not in the right position, right? This? Okay. Okay. Yeah, see a dead cover band. I don't have any shows this weekend. I'm hoping to hop on something so I don't have to do any of that. But, we'll see. I'll hit some people up, try to get on some spots. And then J-Mo from the Allman Brothers is doing a show at City Winery on Saturday. And, he's the only surviving original member of the Allman Brothers left, so I really want to fucking go see that, just to say I've seen an original member of the Allmans live. Dude, why am I burping so much right now? I mean, I'm a gassy boy. I don't know. Sorry, I overreacted there. Okay, I slightly overreacted. Okay? Well, I didn't overreact. Okay, I was fucking... It's tough to be, interrupted in the middle of some fucking shit that you're trying to do when you specifically say, I'm trying to do this shit. Okay? Does nobody listen to me? Why are you people listening to me? You're the only ones who let me talk. Okay? I don't want to have a conversation. I just want to talk for an hour by myself and tell myself I'm right about everything. Okay? That's how this works. This is just me validating my own opinions because nobody can talk back and tell me, hey, I have numbers that support something else. Because if you tell me numbers that support something else, I don't have the deductive reasoning skills to challenge them, okay? Because I'm just parroting shit I heard from other people. Because that's how this works, okay? I am a comedian who acts intelligent because he thinks it's funny. But, do I actually think I know everything? Of course not, okay? I'm a fucking moron. Alright. I don't have a degree. I've never actually studied anything besides spending way too much time reading about the Grateful Dead. Okay, that's the only subject I'm an expert on. But I will tell you why I think I'm right, because when I'm in a situation where nobody can check me. Okay, that's why I don't like doing crowd work. Is the prospect of someone talking back. I think that's why that's one of the reasons I'm afraid to have kids. Is I feel like I'd be a great parent until they can form opinions, and they start challenging me on shit. I think I'd be a pain in the ass to deal with, if I was just fucking telling you why I'm right and you're wrong all the time, and then I can't just abandon you because I'm mad, I have to just sit there and take it and just respectfully disagree with my child instead of morphing them into the exact version of a thing I want them to be, that's how most of your parents act, No, I wouldn't give a shit as long as my kid doesn't fuck anybody anywhere close to my age. I think I'd be happy with them. Just be yourself. Why do you give a shit? If you're, it's I don't do when people are don't want their kid to be whatever. I would Elon Musk disowning his kid because they're trans. It's dude, who gives a shit? They're not out there murdering people. That's all you can ask for. They're not on heroin. Therefore, you did a good job. That's how I see it. So as long as they're not inflicting deep wounds psychologically into the people they know, I think you're fine. Okay. That's what I was talking about a couple weeks ago when I was talking about how it's inherently selfish to have a kid. And look, I'm probably gonna have kids too. Of course, whatever. I'm just shitting on you people because it's funny. But it's more just the annoyance of people saying that people who don't want kids are the selfish ones. It's well, that's not true, okay? We're all selfish. Everything anybody does ever is inherently selfish to some degree. Even if you help somebody, you're getting some sort of good feeling out of that. You get to tell yourself you're a good person. No matter what you do, it's selfish. We're all we have egos. We're human, But I was just fucking saying, because it starts because when people imagine kids, they don't imagine they don't imagine as the 14-year-old who's this house is a fucking prison. They imagine sitting in a fucking meadow and eating an apple with a fucking toddler, seeing the world in their eyes, before they're ruined by all the shit that ruined you in life, before they realize how inherently greedy and selfish and destructive people are, before they realize that we're all just a bunch of ignorant apes pretending to know what we're doing, right? Just a bunch of grown-up children who are afraid to be exposed as the grown-up children we are. Yeah, you look at it as just oh, I'm gonna have a baby and it's gonna fill me with all this joy, and I'm gonna tell everybody that's the most important thing in life, and then I'm gonna act like they're supposed to give a shit. Because, dude, having a kid, right? I swear, if you can tell, I'm trying to turn this into a bit. Having a kid, I feel dude, because, just in my friends in comedy who have had kids recently, right? It's it's the biggest shift in your world that could ever happen, right? In your life, the fact, the best thing about not having a kid is that I can kill myself at any time, and it's not that big of a deal, There's gonna be some people who are upset, but I'm not gonna destroy anything. I'd probably wait till my parents are dead just to be, just to be considerate. But I don't want. Not that I want to kill myself, but it's an option. It's always an option. At any point, I can just go. I quit. and that's like comforting, right? It's like when I'm like on like acid or something, where it's like, yeah, if I just have, a Xanax around, I can quit any time. I'm not going to, never have, never will, but it's just an option, you know? It's good to have that. You have a kid, there's no quitting. There's no, at least not until they're like a whole adult, you know? You can never, there's no bailing from that unless you just, want to become a monster. Apparently a lot of people do. That's really why I'm afraid to have kids, is because I know I'd be a good dad, and that sucks. If I could be a deadbeat, I'd be like, yeah, let's have all the kids we want, Fuck it, that's your problem, bitch. But I couldn't do that. Raise my seed. I'm going to be over there in Cabo with some 19-year-old I met. Yeah, I couldn't do that. I don't know. We're at 36 minutes already. Dude, this is way funnier than the last couple weeks have been. We can all agree on that, right? Dude, I posted the video to Instagram the other day, right? I was hanging with my dog. I named her after the Grateful Dead song Cassidy, and it was playing, and like for some reason she doesn't react that much when I listen to like something digitally, but I had it on the record, so it was analog, so it just feels more real. Like it just I don't know how to explain it. Like it's from like a technical standpoint, right? When something's digital, you're taking like an analog thing and you're coding it into ones and zeros, and then you're refunneling it. So there's like a level of unreality because it's not, it's not like a physical piece of art, right? It's like, something that's retranslated digitally. So I think she like listens to music differently on vinyl, which is kind of cool. But that song was playing, and like they sang the chorus of her name, and she was like lying down, and then she immediately popped up and was like, "What the fuck?" and then just like ran over to me and started like putting her fucking head on my hand so I could pet her. And then they sang it again, and then she just like immediately started licking my hand and started pawing at my hand and started wagging her tail. It was the cutest fucking shit I've ever seen. But dude, it's been cool, dude. I saw it, like, obviously I work with dogs, and we go on like, it's all off leash, well-trained dogs, all that sort of shit. So we were on a hike on Friday, and she's a big scaredy cat. She doesn't know how to get out of her comfort zone yet, and so like she like plays with the dogs she knows at home. Like with the neighbor dogs, like her best friends. So they're like fucking psychos together. But when she comes out with us, she runs around a little bit, but she always just like checks back into me with me for safety. Like she just hasn't figured out how to like test her boundaries yet. And but dude, we were like trying to cross this little stream, and what's it called? She was like, all the other dogs jump across except her and one, and that was just because that one couldn't, and then or two, those other two couldn't. So we picked up both of them, but she could. She's a fucking athlete. So like we're trying to convince her to jump across, but she's like afraid of the water because she's never really been swimming. Like she'll put her paws in the water when we're over by like the still water, but she's really afraid. She was afraid of like the stream. She'd never seen moving water like that before, and dude, so we're like, we spent like fucking 5 minutes being like, come on, Cassie, jump across. And I was like trying, I was like hopping back over and trying to show her and drag her across, and she couldn't figure it, she was just too scared. And then she finally like built up the courage to jump across, and she was so proud of herself, and she's like running around getting the zoomies because she's just so excited that she like, crossed that hurdle. And it was like, it fucking filled my heart. Like that's why I know I'd be a good dad, because like that was like such a fulfilling moment. That's the coolest part about my job, dude. Is like fucking yeah, dude, like you get this like, because you work with like dogs for like a long time, and you just see how their behaviors change over time. Like I used to work with like this pity mix Ellie, who was really aggressive to new people, and she was really bad with other dogs and really bad with other people, and I like really got her to like soften up because she was a rescue, right? And I really got her to soften up with other people, and my boss was proud of me. And then there was another dog we had, Mavis, who was like hyper reactive, like really hard dog to walk. And in my last week at that company, this is my first walking job, we got her acclimated to our play groups, and she went from like this psycho dog, and I used to walk her every single day, so she was like my dog to work with. She went from like this psycho dog to like I got her in with the play group, and to the like I had just done work with her, like keeping her calm and like being positive instead of like negative with her reactions to things and, like, using the, deflection techniques and things like that, to the point where, like, when the owner and my boss realized that, like, she had grown that much in terms of, like, dealing with other dogs and feeling safe and things like that. Like, they were both, like, crying and so happy, and it was like, it was like a level of fulfillment I've never felt. It was, like, really cool. So I get why parents are narcissists about, like, my child is the apple of my world, but also, like, it's not, I don't give a shit, It's like, yeah, that's the biggest change that could ever happen in your life. Also, to me, it just means that you're not going to be fun to hang out with anymore, And that's the problem. I just got to deal with a fucking toddler every time we want to hang out. It's like, dude, I just want to fucking smoke weed and listen to the Grateful Dead too loud. I don't want to hang out with your fucking kid, just asking me dumb questions. That sounds shitty, I like kids for, like, 5 minutes, and then I realize that they love me, and they just want my attention all the time, because I'm cool as shit, and, then I'm like, I'm gonna go home. I don't wanna, Dude, like, my little cousins were staying over, and, like, they just couldn't understand why I didn't want to hang out with them 24/7. It's like, yeah, 'cause you guys are 7 and 9, and I'm 26 years old, and I've got so much cooler shit to do than hang out with a 7 and a 9-year-old. I've got, like, a whole, if you think listening to you guys talk about garbage trucks is cool, you should try LSD. That's, like, fucking mind-blowing, dude. No, they shouldn't do that. I don't know. Where are we at? We're at 41 minutes. I have made almost the point that I was trying to hit, which is I'm aiming for 45 every week, and if we go over, great. If we go under, cool. I'm trying to do my best here. I'm doing whatever. Ugh. Oh, speaking of going from my 60s idealist phase to 70s nihilism, I did start dressing like a cowboy more recently. Not that I didn't always just wear denim all the time, but, I'm filtering out from, extra long hair and tie-dye to even more denim and trucker hats, and I think that's fun, 'Cause that's where it's going, right? It's going from, like, collectivism to I don't have faith in people and I'm going to become a rugged individualist, Not that I don't, not that you should stop trying to do the best for things, but, whatever. Sorry, I shouldn't be reading text while I'm doing this, but, I can't stop myself. I don't know. What else is going on in my life? I'm thinking about flying out to San Francisco in a couple weeks. They're doing a farewell to Phil and Friends event at the Sweetwater Music Hall in Mill Valley. So I'm torn between one final farewell to Phil or Bobby New Year's down in Fort Lauderdale. I can go hang out with my buddies Josh and see my buddy Julian and all that sort of shit. The problem is, like, I want to go, to Dead shows and have that vibe, and they're like club people with, like, fucking, that Gary V grind and energy, and I'm just, like, so polar opposite of that, where, I love hanging out with those guys, but, like, my idea of going out and their idea of going out is probably a different idea. But or I could be like, hey, let me show you how I see a city, and, make them appreciate that a little bit. I think that'd be a fun idea, actually. I'm gonna hit them up about that and see if they'd be down, 'cause that'd be cool. But otherwise, I could just go out to the Bay, 'cause, I love being in the Bay. Try to do some spots, fucking hang out for a weekend. I don't think I have. Do I have any shows that weekend up here? Oh, I want to go to a concert on the 7th. Oh, and that would make it so I could fly out of New York, which might be cheaper, actually, than flying out of Boston. Okay, well, see, we got a whole whatever now. Dude, I gotta hit up this fucking booker. I don't know, I gotta drop off the equipment from this weekend, which I was supposed to do on Sunday, but I've been busy. I was gonna do it last night after my set, but I had fucking plans with somebody, and then I got bumped 3 times, and one of them did, like, 30 minutes, but it's his show, so I'm not, like, mad about it, but, like, I was supposed to go early, drop the equipment off, go home, chill, and then, everything got fucking thrown off, and I forgot to drop the equipment off because just my fucking, you lose an hour on the time you were planning around that you were going to do that shit, and then you're just like, well, fuck, I can't do this now, and then make everything on time. And then you just, like, whatever, and then, so much goddamn traffic getting into the city today. It took me an hour and a half to get to work. It took me 30 minutes to get from the north end to Charlestown because of the construction on the goddamn bridge. So, I'm just on edge. I'm annoyed. I'm feeling nihilistic. Maybe should we all give up? Should we just let our overlords run our lives? Because they're going to do it anyways. Why keep resisting? It's going to happen. So, why don't you just, close your eyes and think of a happy time? Just drift off to another place while they rape us. That was dark. That was real dark. I'm sorry. That was fucked. Okay. Obviously, I'm not condoning. Okay, guys, you get it. You're probably not even listening at this point. All right, we're fucking 45 minutes in. I could just wrap this up and be completely content with myself. There's some funny ideas in here. There were some funny ideas in here. We actually accomplished something this week. I don't know what. I gotta try some new bits. I gotta write some new shit. All right, I got some new stuff I like. The parenting thing. I haven't tried that on stage yet, but everybody seems to agree with the premise. They think it's funny, but I just need punches. So I gotta listen back to the podcast, figure it out where it is there. But this podcast and that a couple weeks ago, and then I gotta keep working the stuff about the C word. Where am I gonna be at in the next couple days? Let's see. Oh, I'm going to those concerts this weekend. Thursday I'm gonna be at Nanking, a Chinese restaurant in Hudson. What else do I got? I think that's it. I got nothing tomorrow. I'm gonna try to fill my time somehow. I think I'm gonna have my buddy come over tonight and just listen to the Dead. 'Cause I need a night off, dude. I've been fucking grinding. I put on 1,200 miles, at least. No, actually, I was at 32. Thursday, 3,200 since my last oil change, and then 3,700. So 3,700 since my last oil change, and now I'm at 5,200. So in the last fucking 5 days, I put 1,500 miles in my car. So that rules. That's not gonna bite me in the ass one day. Nope. I blew fucking 2 tires in a couple weeks ago, and now I'm fucking now I'm just paranoid of everything. And then my check tire light went on when I'm going up to Lewiston. So I go to a gas station. I went to 4 fucking gas stations. Only one of them had an air thing, but it didn't have a gauge on it. So I was just like, I guess we're winging this. And I overinflated my tires. So I could have just blown out my 2 front tires after replacing 2 tires, one of which was a front tire, on the highway. But I needed to get to that fucking gig, and I was freaking out because I was supposed to run the show, and I was already late because of the traffic. And just, whatever. So I was just fucking freaking the fuck out. And there's no fucking pressure gauge on the pump, so I have no idea where I'm at. The tire light's on, so it says it's low, but I don't fucking know what's low. And then I checked my tires on the way home, and if it wasn't the front tires, it wasn't the back tires either, which means it was just the temperature change in the atmosphere. And I got all freaked out for nothing. But that, I was really white-knuckling it the last couple days. But I'm glad that's fucking over. I just gotta relax. I gotta fucking chill out. Or maybe just take 2 days off. But then if I take 2 days off, then I get frustrated that I'm taking too much time off. Because, if I don't do comedy at least every second day, I get a little bit antsy. I start, with the combination of Zyn and caffeine that I put into my body, my Instagram story is a little bit much. And it's just because I'm always just I wake up chill, and then, too chill because I'm addicted to caffeine and nicotine. So I'm I need something in my system just to get me going. And then I get going, and then I just, start, raging online about how fucked the world is, and just start posting too much on my Instagram story and scaring off the bitches. Okay, that's what's happening in my life. No offense, bitches. You're not supposed to call them bitches. But it's funny. I learned recently that the male equivalent to bitch is stud, right? Because male dogs are studs and female dogs are bitches. But stud, it has a good connotation when you call a man that. A bitch doesn't. That's sexist. See, I'm on the right side of things. If I call out one thing for being sexist, I can be sexist during the podcast. That's how that works. I'm fucking around, okay? I'm fucking around. Yes, that's cool. Studs and bitches. Well, thank you to all you studs and bitches for listening to another episode of the Comedy's Dead podcast. You know, that was good enough, right? We're at 49 minutes. Yeah, I appreciate you guys listening. Come out to check out our show. I forgot. I'm also at I'm at Bell in Hand next Tuesday. And I'm gonna be at Red Nun in West Dennis on Cape Cod on Wednesday, unless I get the green light for the show. I might be on at Laugh Boston, but it's probably not gonna happen. So I'll be over at Red Nun. Driving too long to not do enough time to get paid not too much. So I should probably start turning in that fucking gig, because I don't know. But it's also a Wednesday, so it's just like, should I really be turning down pay on a Wednesday? Probably not. Okay, but the show sucks. And AJ's not going to listen to this, so who gives a shit? But yeah, I don't like doing that fucking show. Alright? I haven't done it in a while for that exact reason, because I just stopped hitting him up, because I'm just like, dude, I don't want to drive 2 fucking hours onto the fucking far end of Cape Cod to bomb for fucking 10 minutes to a loud restaurant that doesn't want comedy. Of a bunch of fucking people who live on Cape Cod, because it was either come to this show or do heroin. Now those were their options, okay? I don't know if I need to fucking do that, okay? I think I got better options, okay? I could do an open mic in Boston and not get paid and be like, you know what, this was fine, And by fine, I mean I hate myself when I do open mics, but you gotta get some work done somehow. So yeah, all right. This was that was this week's podcast. Again, thank you to the studs and bitches listening. Maybe that's my sign off every week. Is shout out to my studs and bitches. Yeah. I was trying to think of the equivalent to cows, but it did use heifer, right? And something. Bulls and heifers. What about horses? Fillies and horses? I don't know. All right. This has been another episode. Everybody have a good week. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, all that sort of bullshit. You're not going to do it anyways, but I should say that, Yeah, everybody have a good week. Peace out.